keep on saying this over and over again, but. So we got a poem to start us off for today, so. Hello and welcome back to the Knack for Adventure YouTube channel. My name is AJ. Now sit back and get excited because it is new bike day. So cheesy. All right, before we get started, I just want to say thanks so much to the sponsor of this week's video, Wasatch Brewery and Squatters Craft Beers. They are the ones that are supporting this channel and helping bring videos like this to you. So we're gonna crack this open and share some details about the new bike. So a little bit about my mountain bike journey. I had a hardtail. It was just like a Gary Fisher I got back in high school or junior high or something. So it was pretty old. And Nick had got a full suspension, so we went biking, and I realized that I wanted to invest in my first full suspension bike. So I went out and I got the bike that I primarily have been using the past 3-4 seasons, and that is the Liv Intrigue 3. So Liv is Giant's women's brand, so it's a women's focused bike, and I kind of always knew that that's the style that I wanted, and I never really branched out and looked at any other enduro or trail bikes. But I have loved my Liv, laugh, love. It has lasted me the past 3 seasons where I have been pretty aggressively progressing in the mountain bike world. It just climbs so well. I've learned how to handle it on the downhill, and I've just overall enjoyed it. I've also got a downhill bike that's more for lift access stuff. It's really, really cushy. It's the Santa Cruz V10. I gave it a little makeover last year, so I'll link that video below in case you want to check it out. And it was like a consignment find that was just too good to pass up. And that's why I have too many bikes. I also have the dirt jumper that I've used for like skate parks and smaller bike parks. So I've been really fortunate to try a couple different bikes for different photo shoots, and then even for the women's mountain bike film that we made a couple years ago. It's called Ladies Night. Also, we'll link that below. But I've been able to try a couple different varieties, but I had never heard of this bike. But then Bikes Online USA reached out to me over the winter and asked me if I wanted to test out a bike for the summer. It's been really fun. I've been able to take it out on a couple different rides, hit the bike park, pedal it uphill, and kind of get a feel for it. So first we're gonna go over some specs, and then I'll give my initial thoughts. I do just wanna say that I am like not a spec person. When it comes to bikes, there's a lot of different numbers and brands and names of parts. I would say that I'm very familiar with the anatomy of the bike and just the basic parts. But when it comes to like specific bike parts, those numbers just go like over my head. So for all you spec people out there, here are the bike parts that make up this bike. So the frame is aluminum, so that means it is going to be a little bit heavier than any sort of carbon bike. The fork is a Fox 38 Performance, and then this bike has 170 millimeters of travel. The shock is the Fox Float X2. The drivetrain is a Shimano XT 12-speed. The wheels are the Entity, and they are tubeless ready. And then the brakes are the SRAM Code R4 piston. I did add on my Peak Design phone mount, as well as little trail kit, which has a new tube, tire lever, and a CO2 cartridge to help me repair flats while out on the trail. And lastly, for my pedals, I just have my Mallet Crank Brothers clipless pedals. I love those pedals, so those are just gonna go on whatever bike I'm riding. Now, the specs are great and everything, but I really just wanted to get into my initial thoughts, feelings, reactions, based on the first couple times that I've ridden this bike. As of right now, when I'm filming this video, I think I've ridden it 4 times maybe. We did like a half shuttle, half pedal kind of ride, but it was really cold and rainy, so that one maybe wasn't the best indicator, except for maybe that I just was able to try it in different kinds of weather and different like trail conditions. I also went on like a shorter trail ride. I guess we did 2 laps, so it was probably like 7 miles or so. And then I went on a longer trail ride, which is more like 9.5 to 10 miles, which That's long for me. I would count that as a long ride. And lastly, we went to the bike park. So I was able to get the bike in the air, feel how it felt on the jumps. First, I want to talk about the cons, and then we'll end with the good stuff. So full transparency, Bikes Online did give me this bike to use for the summer. And quite honestly, like I've definitely built up a nice like little fleet of bikes. So you'll see me on my other bikes too. I won't exclusively be riding this Polygon this summer. But yeah, let's get into the cons. I guess there's only really one big con, and that is that this bike is really heavy. The frame is aluminum, and then a bunch of the components definitely add to the weight. So this bike is 39.28 pounds or 17.8 kilograms. And that doesn't include the pedals either. And I can feel it. I don't know how much my live weighs. I know it is significantly less. So whenever I would like go to load our bikes last season, like I would pick my bike up, load it, it feels good. I remember picking up Nic's bike and it felt so heavy. And Nic built his bike, so I don't think he's ever exactly measured it to see how much it is. But the funny thing is, now when I load our bikes, like I'll load Nic's, it feels good. And then I load this Polygon. It definitely feels significantly heavier than Nic's bike. So that's when I know that it's really, really heavy. Obviously, I'm like not in biking shape because it's spring and I'm used to skiing. I've been tellying for the past ski season. So I feel like my legs are like very much stronger than the beginning of bike season last year. And still this bike just like kills my legs every time I go on a trail ride. I don't know, maybe I don't even have to consider that a con because by the end of the summer, my legs are gonna be strong as f***. That's really the only like negative thing I've noticed, because on the downhill, all of that weight helps so much.
Ooh, this is a fun section. It's so flowy.
When I was going down like chunky and loose stuff, like it felt so solid and so stable. I was really able to like push it around berms. I just pedal uphill and then end with the downhill. I'll just forget how shitty the uphill was. I don't know if it's just early season or this bike, but my legs are tired. This bike is heavy. And just be stoked on the downhill. And while I may be gassed at the end, like it's kind of worth it to ride this on the downhill. And I feel like if I'm gonna go back to my live on any sort of downhill or enduro trails, like it's gonna feel a little bit more squirrely, which is fine because like every bike is gonna be different, but the downhill is really fun on the Polygon. Cornering felt so amazing on this bike just because it has that weight to like really throw into the berm and throw into the curve. But I think I'm also just like getting better at cornering and better at handling the bike. So that also could be a factor. As far as jumping, the first trail ride that I went on, I tried to jump it a little bit.
Oh, the jumps are a little funny.
But because it is so much heavier, I do have to pop that much more. But because of the weight, like if I exaggerate that pop, like I'm gonna get a lot of lift.
Little gappy gap?
It did take me a little bit and I went to the bike park for a good amount of time, but I felt really good towards the end. I am excited to get it on like some bigger jumps, bigger drops, just because it is so heavy and stable.
Whoa, that was deep. Yeah, babe. Woo!
So if I could just like sum this whole video into one sentence, it would be that this is a heavy ass bike, but that doesn't mean it's not fun, except for on the uphill. In order to make it through the uphill, I just have to like say my mantra over and over and over again and just remind myself how fun the downhill is. I'm really stoked to get into this bike season. I think a lot of things just started like clicking for me a little bit more at the end of last year, so we've picked right back up and it's gonna be a fun summer. Thanks so much to Wasatch Brewery and Squatters Craft Beers for sponsoring this video. Stay tuned for some more fun bike content this summer.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as check out our other social channels at AJ Cutler and at Carnazzo. You'll find more fun outdoor, bike, camp, hike, all that sort of content there. So thanks so much for watching and keep on crushing. Cheers. So first off, oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many planes.